So today we're going to be ranking Donovan Vitrici's films. I'm just kidding, it's Denis Villeneuve. I know, and I know how to pronounce it. I have pronounced it that way before. I know my last two videos I didn't, but I blame it on all the Dune 2 reviews that I listened to before I actually did the video, because people were pronouncing it Denis Villeneuve and Villeneuve, and I was just getting it really confused, okay? I'm sorry, Denis Villeneuve. I actually watched a video of him saying Denis Villeneuve, so here we go. We're here. Denis Villeneuve. Or Villeneuve. We'll say Villeneuve. I'm trying to be fancy with it, and I need to fucking stop. But we're going to be ranking his films, and I'm actually very excited to do so. I have his films, my list, my letterbox list right here. And my list might actually surprise a few people. I'm not going to waste any time. Let's just go ahead and get into it. Coming in last place, we have Maelstrom, 2000. This was his second film, and it's a very strange film. Essentially, the narrator or the person telling this story is a fish on the chopping block about to, get chopped. And this woman runs over a man with her car and she falls in love with the man she hit's son. It doesn't necessarily go further than that, but I guess it doesn't really matter. I don't know if it matters if I say anything else. I'm not going to. It's not really a spoiler heavy movie, although it's not a bad movie. For this being my least favorite film from Denis Villeneuve's filmography, it's not bad at all. I think it's a pretty solid film. It's just weaker than his other films. There are some parts of it, though. There's a reason why it's in last place, where I look at it and I'm like, okay, that doesn't work. There's quite a few things that don't work in the film for me. And it's one of his more, difficult films to find. Coming in at number 10, we have his directorial debut, August 32nd on Earth. This is usually one that's sort of last, I've noticed on most lists that I've seen. But for some reason, I actually enjoyed it for the most part. The thing about August 32nd on Earth is it's a very simple premise. It's a very simple, I wouldn't even say romance film, but it just has a very simple premise. And essentially, after a near-death experience, car crash, I don't know what it is with, car crashes in this filmography. Not that there's a lot, there's only two. But essentially our lead, she gets in a car accident. It sort of jolts her a little bit, and she wants to conceive a baby with this man. That was sort of their kind of pact before they were 30, is to conceive a baby. And the man, he's got somebody else in his life, but they travel to Utah in the desert to do so. And it goes further than that, like a lot further than I actually thought it would. And it was a pleasant surprise. So I think just the simplicity of what the film actually is, reading the synopsis and watching the film and not necessarily getting more than what I asked for, but getting exactly what I asked for, I think that's just what set well with me. But a solid directorial debut, to say the least. Very different compared to his other films. I would say, because he did take a 9-year hiatus of sorts between Maelstrom and Polytechnique. And I would say that August 32nd on Earth, if I watched it, I wouldn't even know that it was a Villeneuve film. I just wouldn't. Coming in at number 9, we have Polytechnique. Now, Polytechnique is a pretty short film. It's 75 minutes long, I think. And I love it when directors like this, like big, heavy-hitting directors, are not scared to do like a shorter film, like 70 minutes. I feel like I've said this probably 100 times on my channel. There are a place for films that are 60 minutes to 70 minutes long. I think there are, especially in today's day and age where people like short form content. If you have a story that's like 65 minutes or whatever, 70 minutes, make it. And that's exactly what Polytechnique is, because it's about I don't know if I can say certain things in videos, because I've noticed when people talk about films like this, they use code names, but it's about a shooting. We'll just say that. And it also involves a school. There we go. So you get what the film is about, but it's actually about a real life event that happened in Canada. It's very harrowing. I mean, this film is very harrowing. It's very comparable to Elephant from Gus Van Sant, I think. But this film is shot in black and white, very clean cinematography, very clean looking film. And it pulls no punches. It pulls no punches whatsoever. If you actually look into the real life case of this film, it's heartbreaking, and there's very heartbreaking points of the film, and it actually did. I mean, there were some parts where I was like, gosh, this is some heavy stuff. Of course, I mean, look at the subject matter. But it's very, I think, risky to make a film like this, and it's very interesting that the films that Villeneuve made after this are just completely different. He goes from something that's extremely grounded, And I think probably the most grounded film that he did after Polytechnique was probably, I would say, either Prisoners or Incendies, really. I guess you could say Sicario, although Sicario does have some theatrics to it. But Polytechnique is just very, oof. It's a rough watch. Coming in at number 8, this is where people are probably going to be upset with me. I'm sorry. Blade Runner 2049. Now, this is not a bad film at all just because it's at number 8. It just, I have to have a number 8 spot. And I enjoy Blade Runner 29. It's just 2049. I just don't enjoy it more than I do his other films. Blade Runner to me has never been underrated, but it's just been something that people enjoy more than I do. I can throw Blade Runner 2049 on and watch it. I have no issue with it. Ryan Gosling's great. Dave Bautista's fantastic. I mean, it's got a great cast. It looks great. The visuals are spectacular. I love it whenever Villeneuve works with Roger Deakins. I've seen films similar to it, and I've seen films similar to it that I enjoy a little bit more. And even on a rewatch, I don't know if I would enjoy it more or not, seeing it again. I don't know. I feel more enticed to rewatch the first Blade Runner when it comes to that time than Blade Runner 2049, to the point to where, I don't even check out Blade Runner 2049. But I would like to give it a rewatch, and if my opinions change, then, so be it. But I think the most impressive thing about Blade Runner 2049 is Villeneuve took a widely regarded classic. I mean, a film that a lot of people will say it's either one of the greatest or the greatest science fiction film ever made from Ridley Scott, and made it his own and made it really good and made it where it connects to the first one perfectly. And I enjoy Harrison Ford in both films, but it's a number 8. Coming in at number 7, now I actually enjoy this film just a little bit more than Blade Runner 2049, and that's the first Dune. Now, I actually feel comfortable having the first Dune on this part of my list because most people that I talk to when they talk about the first Dune, they don't really like it. It's a slow film, and I'm not going to lie, it is a very slow film. On my rewatch for Dune, it was still slow. Nothing changed, but I feel like the first Dune had to be what it was so we could get to where we got with Dune Part 2. I think when the first Dune came out, the reason why it was so well received is because it was Dune, and it was very, I wouldn't say, it was pretty faithful for the most part. It was an incomplete film, but you really can't even say it was an incomplete film because there were going to be 2 films to begin with. But it was a slow burn, and I feel like a lot of people liked it because it was Villeneuve's newest film, and it was Dune. I don't care, I'll fucking say it. I think it was cool to like Dune when it first came out. And that's fine because Dune is what Dune is, and I still enjoy it, and I would still rewatch it. I would love to watch the first Dune and the second Dune back to back. But Dune 2, what it done is just, it's so much better. Look, if you want to get mad at me for saying that about the first Dune, that's fine. I get it. That's your opinion. But like, most people that I talk to do not like the film. And here's the thing. I actually enjoy the first Dune. So, I don't know. I like Dune. I like it. I like it better than David Lynch's Dune, which I think most people do, although I do love me some David Lynch. Coming in at number 6 is Enemy. Now, this is where we're getting into the just everything is just completely phenomenal tier. We're not even doing tiers. Fuck it. Enemy it came out the same year that Prisoners came out, which, golly, Villeneuve was on, I don't know what he was on in 2013, but whatever he was, I want to be on it. Enemy follows Jake Gyllenhaal as he's tracking down his doppelganger, which there's more to it than that, but the visual side of this film is so intriguing because it's got this yellow hue to it, and the way that they shoot the power lines to make them look like webs. Gosh, thinking about this film, I just want to rewatch it again. I do. I just want to rewatch it again. Enemy is such a phenomenal film, and I could actually see it moving up on my list, but I don't know. I need to rewatch it again. But it's good. It's really good. And what Jake Gyllenhaal does in this film is great. I don't want to say anything else about it, but that ending, whew, top 5. Coming in at number 5, and I feel so bad for putting this at number 5 because I know with a rewatch, there's a chance it could go up. It's either going to stay the same or it's going to go up. I don't see it going down. And that's Dune Part 2. Guys, Dune Part 2 is such a great movie. It's one of the best science fiction films out there, I think. I'll die on that hill. I don't care. It's so good. I want to watch it again. But yeah, it's Dune Part 2, if you've not seen it, I actually have a video talking about Dune Part 2, which is the reason why I made this video to begin with, is because that video might be up to 5,000 views, almost 200 likes. Thank you guys, that was very nice. Very much so appreciate it. But Dune Part 2 is, talk about taking the first film and just elevating it times 100. I mean, seriously, it's just visually phenomenal. The storytelling is superb. The direction is amazing. Even the performances were great. Javier Bardem, I could see, oh gosh, he's just so good. I could see him getting a nomination. Zendaya was great. Timothée Chalamet was great. But I do think the person that stole the show was Austin Butler. He did a phenomenal job in Dune Part 2. Coming in at number 4 is Arrival. Arrival, whoo, it's another great film, another really, really good film. This movie is just best if you go into it knowing nothing at all. I'm just not, don't go into this film knowing anything. Seriously, please don't. This film has Jeremy Renner, Forrest Whitaker, and Amy Adams. Just stellar cast. Again, I don't want to say anything, but essentially, this ship lands in the wide open. The military, they go to observe it, and it sends messages. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say. Watch the film. Watch the film. It is really good. It's really good. Now that I'm thinking about it again, I'm just thinking about how good the film is. Coming in at number 3, this top 3 is actually very, very difficult because I could see them changing depending on what day, but I feel like right now it's pretty set in stone. Gosh, it kills me to put this film at number 3. These 3 films are probably in my top 50. Yeah, they're probably definitely in my top 50 films. Villeneuve is, again, he's one of my favorite filmmakers working today. Even though he directs films that he doesn't write. I mean, it's just, he still makes it his own, and it's just, oh, it's so impressive. But number 3, whatever, Prisoners. Hugh Jackman, Paul Dano, Jake Gyllenhaal. Wow. Prisoners is such a exhilarating film from start to finish. I mean, this film will literally shake you while watching it. It is, the whole entire time you're watching the film, it's like somebody's grabbing you and like just shaking the shit out of you. And it's just, oh my gosh, it's so good. And I think the reason why Villeneuve makes, again, he makes good films because he's a good director, but I feel like he reads these scripts. That is the benefit of reading another script and directing another script as opposed to writing it, is you can read that script and something can happen in it and be like, wow, that works. That is going to hit the audience a lot, like a lot. And I just wonder the moment that he read the script for the first time and just saw what was included in it. But long story short, a father's daughter goes missing and he's trying to find her. And what happens throughout this film is, just watch it. Just watch it. You won't be upset. Coming in at number 2, I don't know. Yeah, I'm confident. Coming in at number 2 is Incendies. Incendies is just, you just see it. Just see it. I'm not going to say anything about this film. I'm not going to say anything about it. I could go on about it for probably 30 minutes, but just know that it is worth the watch. When you watch it, turn off your phone, turn out the lights, and just enjoy it, and just let it soak in. I cannot stress it enough. Incendies is one of those films where it's so rewarding, and the payoff is just out of this world if you're just not distracted by anything else. It is really, really, really fucking good. That's all I'm going to say. And I don't think it won Best Foreign Language Film at the Oscars, which I don't know how. Seriously, like if you've seen the film, which you probably have, I just don't understand. Just such a good movie. And I don't know what it is with Villeneuve liking films set in the desert. I mean, what do we got here? We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. About half of his filmography is in the desert. And coming in at number 1, if you haven't guessed already, is Sicario. Funny thing is, I have not seen the second one. I have the second one, but I've not seen it. Sicario is just, oh my gosh. Again, kind of like Prisoners, and I mean even Incendies, although Incendies is a little bit slower than I think Prisoners and Sicario, but it's just exhilarating from beginning to end. Excuse me. Some of the set pieces in this film, because this film is really just sort of a bunch of set pieces as you go forward, which is fine, and they're done really well. But some of it's just impressive. The ending of this film is a gut punch. My favorite part of this film, and this film probably has some of my favorite cinematography of all time, but my favorite part of this film is the night vision sequence and the soundtrack. Whoa. Like, I mean, that whole part was just so good. I mean, seriously, it's just, and the cast in this, I mean, it's a phenomenal cast, great story, excellent cinematography from Roger Deakins. Sicario is my favorite Denis Villeneuve film at the moment. I feel like if I was to rewatch Prisoners or Incendies, I think they're just really going to be interchangeable as I watch them. I don't know, but right now it is Sicario. Sicario is definitely my favorite Villeneuve film. Now, I will obviously do an updated ranking of this whenever Doom Messiah comes out or his other films, because he's working on like 4 films right now, which I'm excited about. But yeah, Sicario right now, number 1. But anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a thumbs up, maybe subscribe. Leave me your Villeneuve ranking down in the comments below. Also, if you want to check out my Pesadilla trailer, definitely check it out in the description. But anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you're staying safe out there, and I'll see you guys next time.